Good morning, everybody. I would like to welcome to the stage Team SIFT.
Thank you, Anne. We're Team SIFT. My name is Melissa, and this is Kevin. We started working together because of our shared passion for sustainability and our desire to address the widespread unsustainability in the fashion industry. The fashion industry is the second largest polluter in the world, contributing to land, air, and water pollution. In the US alone, 18 million tons of clothes every year are sent to the landfill, equating to about 70 pounds of waste per person, despite over 95% of it able to be recycled. So among you 4 judges, 280 pounds of clothing are being sent to the landfill every year. With the increase of production of cheap clothes by fast fashion brands, this problem is being worsened. Most of these clothes that don't end up in landfills are donated. Unfortunately, large consignment stores such as Goodwill receive more than they can sell, so they export the clothes overseas and sell them cheaply. This negatively impacts microeconomies by putting local clothes manufacturers out of work. Now, to get a better grasp of the issue, we started constructing an ecosystem map of all the players involved. It got extremely convoluted, but we decided to focus on the following stakeholders: consumers, sustainable brands, downcyclers, and upcyclers. Downcyclers take recycled clothes and turn them into raw materials, while upcyclers turn them into new products. We chose these four because we recognized a high potential for them to have a positive impact on this space. We conducted interviews with 30 consumers and 10 sustainable brands and recyclers to understand their pain points. While many consumers we talked to wanted to purchase more sustainable clothing options, the brands are difficult to find, and individual brands are usually smaller and don't have much variety. On the brand side, they recognize they have low visibility, and part of that is because they must compete with these fast fashion brands. They also brought light to the issue that sustainability has varying definitions. Consolidating these pain points, we propose the solution SIFT. SIFT, which is Sustainable Innovation of Fashion Trends, is an online sustainable shopping platform aimed to bring visibility and sustainability standards to sustainable brands while giving consumers a convenient, seamless method to shop for a variety of sustainable options. Currently, a shirt is sent to a retailer, then sold to a consumer. Most consumers will dispose the shirt by either throwing it out or donating it. If it can't resell, the donation center will send it to the landfill or export it. This chain on the right here is where SIFT will disrupt. Vendors and consignment stores will put their products on our website where consumers can purchase them. Then, using reward incentives and free shipping, we will give consumers the opportunity to send us their old clothes, which we will then send to our downcycling partners, who will turn them into raw materials and sell them back to manufacturers. This circular system will allow us to divert textile waste from landfills and decrease exportations. It will empower local clothing artisans and sustainable brands by giving them more visibility and driving demand. On the consumer side, take Dana here. She has a full-time job and is unable to sit through blog after blog looking for sustainable clothes. On our site, she'll be able to see the bountiful sustainable options available and make an environmentally friendly choice. When she comes to the site, this is what she'll see. It looks like the average shopping platform, but it includes different brands. When she clicks on one of the pieces, she will go to the page showcasing the outfit. On this page, the brand's vision will be displayed, as well as sustainability scoring standards that we have developed. These standards have 5 categories: transparency, traceability, material sourcing, environmental impact, and maker well-being. This allows for consumers to understand what they are purchasing and its impact on the environment. Now I'm going to pass it off to Kevin to talk more about our competitors.
Thank you, Melissa. We conducted competitors analysis under 5 dimensions, which are variety and sustainable fashion, support for smaller brands, having a sustainability scoring standard, having upcycling initiatives, and the ease in donating old apparel. In comparison to other aggregating retailers and consignment stores, we offer the most comprehensive solution to holistically address the issue of textile waste, while empowering local artisans globally and catering to the needs and wants of consumers. However, to achieve our goals, we fully understand that we need to start small and have progressive steps in validating our work. So for the first phase, we want to employ a low-cost website as a fake front door to evaluate consumer and brand interest. It is not until we validate phase 1 that we can move on to phase 2, to include our recycling and downcycling initiatives. Later down the road, we also plan to host other creative outlets to further promote sustainable fashion, like DIY upcycling starter kits and a sustainable fashion show. Phase 1, in particular, for businesses that fit within our holistic sustainability scoring criteria, we plan to implement drop shipping, meaning that the local artisan or brand handles the product manufacturing to shipping, while we will only serve as a platform, taking a small transaction fee only if a purchase is made on our platform to cover operating costs. As a social enterprise, we also include objectives to invest 10% of our net revenues in recycling technologies, 10% in microfinancing projects, so that we not only empower local artisans internationally by giving them a platform, but also financial capital to grow and restart their businesses, especially for those who were put out of business. And finally, donate 10% to the eco cleanup of existing pollution caused by the fashion industry, starting with the countries most impacted. For phase 2, we will change our business model to handle all physical transactions as well. So when Dana orders 3 shirts from different brands, she gets 1 package instead of 3, decreasing the overall carbon footprint. We also want to work even closer with local artisans and sustainable brands to make sure they continue to have rigorous sustainable goals while supporting them in every way we can. Here, acquiring a warehouse is also necessary to enable our recycling and downcycling initiatives. Well, that's great, you might ask, but who are we trying to reach? The fashion industry is worth more than $1.9 trillion. However, we are specifically targeting millennials and the Gen Z sector because they are more eco-conscious compared to the global population. 12% more, to be exact. Representing a near $22.2 billion market share in this space. With that in mind, we believe we can reach at least 15% market penetration by phase 2, especially due to our strategic position of leveraging already existing partners and resources. And we believe the utilization of social media platforms and collaborative partnerships are necessary to reach our intended market. Our next steps include modeling a fake front door using a low-cost website platform, conducting focus groups and consumer surveys to better define the user interface of our platform and also define what sustainability means for the consumer. And finally, continue to form the network of vendors we have already started forming. We are truly the best team to carry out the solution due to the diversity and versatility of our skill sets. I have extensive business expertise in sustainable development projects, so I can develop appropriate business solutions that fit within our rigorous sustainable goals. Melissa has extensive experience of how sustainability coincides with the manufacturing process, which is crucial in developing our sustainability scoring criteria and working with our sustainable brands and local artisans to meet those standards. Thank you for your time, and we will now open the floor to questions.
Great job, you guys. Judges, go ahead and start to jump in with questions with your video on.
Hi there, folks. This is Steve. My video isn't working at the moment, so I'll just jump in with audio. Great job. I wanted to just maybe get your thoughts on the difference between what consumers say in regards to sustainability and what they do. A big part of SIFT is about sort of trust in the sustainability aspects. So I'm wondering how you're going to address that directly with a kind of a scalable approach.
Yeah, that is a great question. It's something we've definitely taken into account. So you can't see it because you don't have video, but I just pulled up a part of our appendix that goes into a little bit more depth of our sustainability criteria. So a lot of consumers have varying definitions of sustainability, and some people are more passionate about other aspects than others. You have people who are more passionate about water usage, more passionate about CO2 emissions, or more passionate about saving animals or saving the bees. And so we want to incorporate all of that into our sustainability criteria so that if people are looking for a specific thing, like if they're looking for the pollution to the environment in the form of water usage, or they're looking more for how the workers are being treated or for how animals are being treated, then we can keep that so that people are just understanding of what they're buying so they can buy what they want that fits their goals and their passions. And Kevin,
I'll just really quick follow up if I can. So, and I can see the slide, thanks. Just in terms of getting the data, there's a lot of data there, right? So where's that all going to come from?
So currently, we are using a template from Remake. It's a nonprofit that supports sustainable fashion, and they have already a sustainability criteria that they already use to kind of rate certain brands as sustainable or not. We pair this with a bunch of other certifications like for water or like material sourcing to create our own specific, more simple version of a sustainability criteria that we use to evaluate sustainable brands. And going back to our interviews, consumers have varying definitions of what sustainable means, and it can be really confusing for the consumer, and we're providing radical transparency of what that might mean for the consumer when they purchase an item on our platform.
But just to answer that, where we're getting the information from, we're going to be contacting the manufacturers of these clothes and asking them very specific questions and going and touring their premises to get a better idea of what their processes are and whether they understand where every single process of the supply chain comes from, because that has something to do with traceability.
Thanks a lot.
Hey guys, question for you. So if you go talk to somebody like a Goodwill, what would their reaction to be to something like this? I mean, wouldn't it be, if we really want to do this, wouldn't it be easier for us to convince Goodwill to adopt a version of this business model as opposed to trying to do it as a standalone thing?
Yeah, so currently Goodwill is a consignment store. We are not reselling any of these old clothing or old textiles. We are focused on local artisans and that or a sustainable brand itself to create a platform to aggregate those new clothing rather than old clothing. But we are taking the old clothing back to potentially actually partner with consignment stores like Goodwill in the future. So maybe they can be resold in Goodwill first, and if they can't get resold, they are sent back to us so we can downcycle it. But currently, Goodwill, like just of last year, spent over $7 million to dispose of clothes that they couldn't sell. And so we're trying to solve this issue that they're actually having at the moment. And although it's not really available to the public, we want to show that, yeah, like donating clothes and reselling is great, but there's also downsides when it can't be resold. And that's where we come in.
And why, help me understand why not just to focus on the downcycling part of it. Like you have the consumer face with the retail store, which is going to be its own effort to stand up. Is there a reason that you have to have that in order to also help get more clothing into the downcycling pipeline?
Yeah, so we're trying to, at the beginning, unsustainability in the fashion industry is obviously a multifaceted issue, and we're trying to use this solution to address multiple parts of it. So the textile waste is something huge, which is the whole downcycling initiative that we want to implement. But then the other issues that we want to solve is the fact that consumers aren't educated and they don't know what exactly is out there for them to buy. And then that promotes a culture of just buying cheap and disposable clothing. So we want to try to change that culture so they understand more sustainable clothing options that are out there and are able to purchase them easily and more accessible, because we're so used to being able to go online and just purchase whatever we want just by going to like a single website. We want to bring that to sustainable fashion. And then in addition, based off of all the money that we get, we're going to be diverting that, like Kevin mentioned, into investing into these people and investing into more research into alternative materials for clothing, such as hemp, in order to continue to promote sustainable fashion and sustainable clothing moving forward. So that way we're able to kind of address multiple parts of this issue in total.
And also to add on that, there are over 500 downcycling and recycling companies, and they're really small. There's no large player in this industry. And one of the issues after doing interviews is that they can't reach the scalability just because of demand. Right now, it's expensive. Like sustainability goods are more expensive, and we're trying to drive the demand so we can scale up these recycling technologies so it's cheaper to buy for sustainable products. And that's where we come in as SIFT.
What is there a percentage content for clothing to be labeled as sustainable? Does it have to be 100% reused, or is it a blend? Is there some opportunity to take some of this recycled material and put it back into the supply chain for new retail?
Yeah, so that is a great question. I'll address the first part of it. So sustainable clothing, this is where the certification processes come in. We've done a lot of research into different certification programs already out there, and they have varying definition, but most of them say that it needs to be, so if you want, they have different levels, right? So you could get like a gold certification, silver, or bronze. And so on gold, it's usually 95% or above. And then for silver, it's usually 75% or above of organic natural fibers. And so that's very difficult with fast fashion, because a lot of fast fashion uses more synthetic fibers, which are harder to recycle. And I'll let Kevin talk a little bit more about the recycling process.
Like take H&M, for example. They have a sustainable conscious line. However, they only upcycle or use like recycled material in 0.1% of their total products. So there's really no standard for what a clothing might be labeled as sustainable or not, and that's why we wanted to help to create this radical transparency in what sustainability might mean, and we create the criteria as like a scoring standard. So brands have to hit a certain score, like a score threshold, before they are being hosted on our platform.
Great, thank you.
Amazing job, everybody. Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you so much, Kevin. And thank you, Team SIFT. What a great presentation. Have a lovely day.